We asked them to protect us, not just from danger, but from the worst of the world that no one should ever have to see.
But we've been slow to realize that our first responders are suffering from PTSD because of all they do for us. In tonight's cover story, Casey Nolan introduces us to one firefighter who was too afraid to speak up.
This is where it all almost ended for Tim Kirchhoff.
Zero visibility, it's noisy. I could hear my partner screaming. I'm screaming.
What seemed like just another house fire in St. Charles turned into life or death chaos. While Kirchhoff and 3 other firefighters were in the basement of this house, the fire flared up and trapped them inside.
And I knew this is the way I was going to die.
It all started for Kirchhoff's firefighting career about 15 years earlier when he joined the St. Louis Fire Department.
The action, the excitement, and I wanted to help people.
He did all of those, first as a paramedic with the department, then as a firefighter. Countless calls on one of the busiest trucks in the city. He saw a lot. Most of it, stuff most of us would want to forget.
Spent 8 years there before deciding I wanted to try and extend my life, so to speak, try to find a department that the odds of me getting truly hurt or killed would be smaller.
12 over 32.
If those odds can ever really be smaller, they still found Kirchhoff at his new job with St. Charles the night this fire trapped him in that basement.
Where I was curled up, I reached up the wall one last time, and there was a window.
Somehow, all 4 trapped firefighters made it out alive. Several surgeries helped mend Kirchhoff's injuries on the outside, but inside, he was only getting worse.
Nightmares. I was reliving it. I could literally feel my skin burning again. Couldn't sleep.
Then came what he calls the highlight reel. Nightmares, not just about that night, but about calls he'd answered throughout his career.
I was afraid to say a word to anybody.
To fellow firefighters?
Yeah, I mean, it was, because the fire service, it's always been, suck it up, buttercup.
You can put a cast on a broken arm and you can immobilize it and it will heal over time, maybe a few weeks or so. PTSD and what firefighters and police officers deal with, this is something they can struggle with for the rest of their life.
Anthony Bass with SSM Health says while we may think military when we hear post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD can paralyze a first responder. Bass says not only are they exposed to the unthinkable, but it can happen several times a day with no time to recover.
It's a very serious problem, and often it's not just a fire that they're responding to.
It's not this Chicago fire and all these shows that, yay, we saved every one of them. It doesn't work that way. In all reality, it's things nobody should have to see.
And it's taking a deadly toll. A recent study found more firefighters and police officers die by suicide than they do in the line of duty.
Without the support of my family and the treatment that I've received, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Kirchhoff says his PTSD made him push his family away and caused the stress to snowball.
What made you ask for help?
Well, it took a few years. Captain said something to me at work one day, and I completely lost my temper, and I knew right then I had to say something.
Kirchhoff now sees a counselor regularly and relies on his service dog, but he is no longer able to work as a firefighter.
I just want to encourage any first responder out there, go see someone before it gets too difficult to fix, so to speak. Because, I know I waited way too long.
Are you optimistic about life after firefighting?
Honestly, no, I'm not. I'm not sure where life is going to take me.
And it's not just the firefighters suffering. Tim's wife, who you saw there, told us it affects the entire family. And then there are the police officers and paramedics and those who work in the emergency rooms. All of the people we asked to shield us from stuff we hope we will never have to see. That same study said that they are 5 times more likely to suffer from PTSD than the rest of us.
And it's so interesting and so common, from what I understand, that staring death in the face like that then triggered all of those other horrifying moments in his career.
It all came back to him. He said that his counselor talked about it. It stores up and then it just all comes back. And it's hard to get help. We talked to his counselor as well. She said, if a person is struggling with this and they also have an addiction, it's likely insurance will help you out, but just PTSD.
So where do they get help?
Well, Tim's wife would like to see something a little more proactive. He'd like to see a counselor, or she would like to see a counselor on staff with the departments. Different departments handle it differently, but I think people are slowly becoming more aware, but clearly this is a problem.
All right, Casey, thank you.
Enjoy your